Good morning. Are you guys able to hear me? Test, test. Okay. There he is.
What's going on, buddy?
Crazy day at the trade desk.
Dude, tell me about it, right? What's going on?
They did a dollar raid. So what you'll see is there's certain times where um, certain kind of moves come through, and I'll show you in a minute. Where's my dollar chart? But you could see on a kind of it's been quiet, and then all of a sudden there's this big, huge move, and it just keeps pressing, pressing, pressing on the dollar. So it really unwound a lot of things when you look at the with the markets. So currencies moved a lot. Oil moved because of the new contract. The oil chart's a little. See this gap? That's just because there was huge contango. It's called. So the price. So this they rolled the contract. So kind of screws up my charts a little bit. But you could see this move. That's all dollar. Here's a euro. So that's kind of the move this morning. Usually it's a concerted effort, so it looked like to me it was a central bank deal. So I'll go through the charts.
Explain to them what's going on. Yeah, explain what they're doing.
To me, the subsidy in the marketplace has been based on currency funding from both the Bank of Japan and from uh, basically the U.S. Fed with their quantitative easing. So, in my humble opinion, they are unwinding that subsidy in the marketplace. So, I always showed you spread chart, how they typically keep together, but now we're increasingly seeing it. It's actually even hard to see, but if you kind of start going further out,
Well, the other side of it too is that's creating some volatilities. Today's quadruple witching day.
Yeah, I think there's less. I think a lot of that stuff gets hedged out a lot of times now. So I think there's usually triple and quadruple witching they talk about on the business channels, but I've always found it to be. This is one of the bigger moving days I've seen in a long time on this. But you can see how these are no longer correlated. They're kind of going off on their own. So to me, it's definitely trying to wean the market off of. And the other thing was, let me go and put. So let's go further even out. So in general, it's an inverted relationship, but the dollar and stocks have been going up for the last, let's go to, it's a daily chart over the last year. So you could see the dollar is the candlestick chart, and then the stocks is that. Used to be the other way around, so seems to me it's starting to become more. I think they might want to disconnect that. So it's kind of interesting times in the market. That's why we're getting some of these aggressive, strange moves out of the blue. Makes trading a little tough. We got steamrolled this morning, right?
Oh, yeah. McCready was just straight through the roof. No holds barred.
I mean, you look at it, it was just good levels, and then it just blew through.
Well, you had your daily. I had my daily numbers. I had my daily numbers at 40. on crude 46.10.
Yep.
And then 45, and then 45.93. So if you look at those numbers and those levels, I mean, that's 99% of the time, 98% of the time, that's going to hold, right?
Right.
So,
Unless the central banks are in there doing their thing.
yeah, they're just clipping away. And then it gets real quiet, right? I mean, it's all pre-market moves. Market sells off, and now we haven't seen anything since. We're just chopping along here.
Right. Right. But stay disciplined, and you just got to keep yourself in the
game.
In the game, exactly.
Yep.
We'll go through. I can still go through the crude chart, even though it's
let's
got
do
that.
some education real quick. Hold on one
Can you
second.
educate me?
Here's what. Actually, do this real fast. What I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you stay on that chart real quick. So this is a version of both bands sloping down. So I've got that one saved. So I'm gonna need some screenshots from you.
Wait, what do you want? This is a daily chart.
I know. Leave it just like that. I'm gonna
you're
need.
screenshotting it.
I need screenshots. Yeah. So I need.
You're doing that or me?
I've got it.
Got it. Okay.
I've got it. Okay. So go ahead and explain it.
Well, what I'm seeing is actually the gold band is just ever so slightly starting to uptick, and then we've got a turn by, which is a different system over here, and so we've got a couple day bounce here.
In crude. Yeah.
In crude oil, right? Now, as you go into the shorter time frames, you really got to knock this down a buck and a half, but it's still definitely.
So stay there for a second.
Get my mouse out of the way.
Hold on 1 second. So what I'm working on now, just so everybody knows, is all of these different correlations. You can see how this one has different bands sloping down and then sloping up and things like that. So I'm explaining the different band correlations, so you guys will have content. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the other stuff.
Okay, so go ahead. Go to the next chart.
What time frames on the entry.
Yeah.
And then look at the 45 or 50 entry. Now, if you slide this down to here, it would have down ticked and still been up. It's testing this high, right?
Exactly.
So that's just the rolling of the contract. The contract's still valid though.
Exactly. Hold on 1 second. Keep that there.
Got it.
Got it. Okay, next.
15-minute.
Well, what I want the different correlation. So this one's a very similar correlation to the last one with upsloping bands. So now I need to see when we have upslope where the gold and red are different. Where one's
Not
sloping
crude.
down and one's sloping up. It's not crude, yeah.
Not in crude today. Everything's lined up bullish.
Yeah.
I think you got it on the higher time frames. Here we go.
There you go. That's perfect.
4-hour S&P.
Scroll the chart, because is there a way to see? Can you change the settings so I can get more of the top gold band?
It's off the charts, literally.
So is there a way on the right side to grab the number and kind of resize it?
How's that?
That's perfect. Hold on 1 second. That's what I needed. Got it. Okay.
Let's go. Wow. Is there a way to What did I do to my chart?
There you go.
I didn't really.
That's still pretty bullish. So I have gold up. I have gold down, red up. I have gold up, red up. I have gold down, red down. So we need the 6 different correlations of each other.
Which chart were we on? The 4-hour? There we go.
There we go. Yep.
I think it was
I
like
got that
this.
one ready.
I'm just trying to get my charts back to normal.
Yep.
I'll have to just make a new one. So are you good on S&P?
We're good. Pull up the dollar chart, actually. The dollar chart actually is.
I don't have a dollar chart per se on this, but I can. It's pretty. Now that the.
No, just the dollar GN there. See how it's down?
Which one?
Isn't the one behind the euro? Is that the dollar yen?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of in
okay.
its own world, but sure.
I just need the pattern.
Got it. Yeah, I've done. You've seen that. Do I have that stacked on? You've seen that little app that I have that does the. It's coming up soon. This one here, we have the different time frames.
Yeah.
So if it's up and down or down and down, up and up, and then you hit it, and then it gives you a green or red buy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now I need one where the bands are both sideways. Chop, chop. Bam.
I don't know why Windows does that, but. So we'll go to 4-hour. Gold's up, red down. Gold down, red up. So it's opposite, right?
I need that one.
What else? You got the screenshot? I'll slow down.
I need gold. I need that one again. The gold down, red up.
This is gold up, red down.
Red down. That's the one I need. Yeah. Can you grab it?
And then we'll go flip it. This is gold down, red up.
So this is gold down, red up. Yep. So you guys see what we're doing? We're taking screenshots of these different setups so you guys can know what to look for when you identify the difference in the bands. That's gold down, red up.
Why didn't it bring up all my charts?
I have gold. Well, here's what I have. I have gold up, red down, gold flat, red up, gold down, red up already. Those are the ones that I have.
Well, what I wanted to do, and I actually did it on my own software, where you can have multiple, if you wanted to see it from a multiple time frame perspective.
Yeah, you can't. Jerry's talking about the gold band, the bands. T4 doesn't have the software to run those bands. We've already tried.
Well, no, the blue is the higher time frame here. I don't put it up because it would confuse everybody. But you could start to see where when you're below all three, it's lights out.
Yeah.
Here's the top band, here's the midpoint, and here's the bottom band at the higher time frame, the current time frame, and this is the rate of change. And when you've got in that area, you go to a shorter time frame, same thing. You're below all three. Like this is a great buy zone to me because we're on the higher time frame or below, and we're right at the bottom. And the other one, it's just this red is really holding things down, but as time comes through here, it should be a good pop. I'm long the yen right
Yep.
now.
Okay.
63 right here. So first target would be the midpoint, and then top band, and then ultimately the next midpoint. But what I used to do is those. Let's get my daily dots. I don't know if you want to put this on your screenshots.
Hold on one second. You know what? I don't want the gold or the no. That's too many bands.
It's too
We'll do that more of the advanced stuff. Remember the advanced stuff we're gonna start doing?
right.
Yeah, we gotta. We'll cover that in that area.
Right. We don't want to get too crazy. But let me see where my range. So the idea was that, and I used to do this, but I don't know if it confused people or not, but I would put it in, if there's a buy range, I think if the red's up, you'd probably want to go like that, and then a sell range. I would love, like you do your boxes, I would love this.
Yeah, same exact thing. Yep, same.
I would love this to be like that.
I think it's great. That's
Or we can
exactly
go
how
to,
it should be.
or go to crude, I think when it's in a Super Bowl move, it's you got to give it a little bit of range here, but
You gotta give it some room. Yeah.
it kind of gets in that range, which it's transparent. You can kind of see through it, but gives it its range.
Yeah. So let's go over real quickly. So let's explain to everybody the idea behind what we look for as it looks for trades. Obviously, gold band sloping up, red band sloping up, any white arrow on a 5-minute is a signal. Now, of course, that was done overnight, so that's why signals didn't trigger.
Right.
So,
obviously, if do you want to use crude or
it doesn't matter. I mean, crude is its own animal today. I mean, this is like, if you guys look at that move, that's a $3 move in about an hour. That's just done. I mean, we're seeing. To me, if you guys understand that crude typically moves $2.30 a day, and to see it move $3 in an hour is extremely parabolic. For the bottom's in on crude is my point.
I mean, you like to see it make a new low. It did. You've got multi-decade tagging the low here of the crash in '08. To me, it seems like it's definitely a kind of crescendo bottom.
Yeah.
That you'd like to see, and then a powerful move out of it. Like I said, this gap kind of, it's about $1.50, so 46. It'd basically be down here,
Yeah.
but still, all in all, it sold off a little bit to here. Now it's spiked up and it's above this part. So
Sure.
I wish they would somehow clean that up, but it is what it is. That's the nature.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But what the idea is that you're supposed to be looking for. This is the best of the worlds. This obviously we came into a pretty big. I would almost call it this was program buying.
Yeah.
So you look at $1, probably European, because it was a European move. Usually European fund managers and pension funds and the like stick to models. So when they come in, if the dollar's down, they're buying. They buy stocks. They buy oil. They're going and doing their thing. That's why what the stock market went at that time rode with it parabolic with oil. That was pretty interesting. So all in all, what we're looking for, and I know that, well, let's use the NASDAQ chart. It's better. Once we get down into these areas, it's kind of a value area as long as they're sloping up. You go to a shorter time frame, you want to be looking to get long. in that certain area. But you could see with the big moves, it's really skewed this market. So that's kind of the idea there. So especially, I think for what we're doing, you're looking at the 15-minute, and then you go to the 5-minute. So you could be looking to get long in this area. Your stop is really that recent low. One hour, it's both up. So it's been, this is the hard part. We're bullish, and it was at a buy zone. We got buy signals. But to go long into that Fed announcement, they could easily said that they're tightening, and this thing would have dropped down to here. And because the market moves fast during Fed meetings, it would gap, and you would actually be blown out of the water before even your stop gets hit. So that's a frustrating part of it, where you're bullish and it rallies. I don't know, 70 something handles in a couple hours, I guess. Really, it was all in 15 minutes mostly on this bar. So that's kind of the caveats of trading with it. But to me, they basically said they're not raising rates, and I think that's what I've been kind of pounding the table about. There's been a lot of talk of that, but they're not. I actually was reading, because these guys follow on the different, and this is where you have to realize now it's all back 5, 10, 15 years ago, it was fundamentals and accounting and all that kind of stuff, earnings per share growth. But right now, all the growth in stocks is based on stock buybacks. So there was, the last few months, huge buybacks of stock. These companies have nothing to do with their cash. You think of Apple, they have $180 billion, and they're pulling bonds to buy back their stock. That's all they're doing in order to juice their earnings. But that being said, the Fed, it was shown that they were doing, because they released their balance sheet numbers. It's public knowledge. It's not any made-up conspiracy, and they're increasing their balance sheet by, I believe, $7 billion a day. So back in QE, they were doing 20, 30, 40 billion a day, but they're still doing, with the rollovers of the securities they bought in when it started in 09, 10, 11, and then when people refinance that MBS, that paper gets taken off their books, so they're given fresh new cash injections, and then they have to do something with it. So what these guys are finding is they're still doing about 7 billion a day in increase in their quote rollovers. It's anything they have, and even treasuries. If they bought in 09, if they bought treasuries, 3-year notes, 5-year notes, it's expiring, and that rolls off their books. They went in the public market and bought 10-year notes, and they were expiring. Let me get a new S&P chart since this was killed. Sometimes I have crazy charts, huh?
Yeah, one thing too, just so if anybody has access to a projector, like a screen, not an actual projector, but a screen, I'm going to need it while I'm there. I mean, if worst case scenario, I just go pick one up, but
we saw that one. It was huge. So for you to carry that around on the plane would be
exactly
be silly.
Yep. Have everything else, but I just need that.
Yeah, the charts went down, but that's a real print. I don't know. They lost their data feed. It's always funny whenever there's a big move like that. It's a lot of these different groups. It seems like they lose their feed for some reason. So that's the kind of lower, like when I say when I'm trying to be lower risk, I'm literally looking at trying to make sure that I'm in the right trend and in the right trend.
Yeah.
Although when you start looking at the higher time frames, those are really swing trades compared to what we've been doing. So
Sure.
we're going to be rolling those out in the new systems starting next week.
There will be no wrap-up call today, just so everybody knows. We've got meetings downtown from 2 o'clock till about 10 o'clock at night. So.
Yep. Yeah, you got my Skype about the capital provider, right?
Yes. Yeah, I got that one, and then we've got 4 other meetings.
Right.
So that we will not be around today for pretty much after the call. So.
Right.
Or after the trader. It's going to be a busy, busy day.
I guess we can go. Wait, what else? What other market we got to go through? Well, this you could see the Nasdaq, like I just said about that's in that value zone to buy. I think we just had a buy at 50. Imagine that same price again, 52.25.
Exactly.
Isn't that strange? That other one went
Not,
more than 5
not
before,
strange.
so
Yeah.
it's not strange.
Okay,
Is that coincidence?
Well, it's that.
That's
It's
right.
not
Yeah.
strange. Okay, so on the U.S. dollar, you have sloping down with red up. I need that one, so we're going to expand that chart.
And
Yes, sir. So that's sloping down with red sloping up.
right.
Got it.
So the mindset there is that the where you could see the price action is in a downtrend, but you could also see that on the shorter time frame, or the rate of change of it is the downtrend is decreasing. So either like you'll see, I'm sure you've seen the ones where it rallies up and it gives an orange sell, and then it goes down just a little bit, and then it blasts to new highs, and then orange sell, and then blasts to new highs. I think it's probably better. I mean, obviously, because we're in a super bull cycle. I guess this chart's all screwed up, but actually it'll populate here. But you'll see how as the rate of change has come up, you see it'll work out, but it's a tight, quick one, and then it's a spike higher. And so to me, I would almost filter it out that I would only take arrows near the band. But once again, this is a 4-hour chart, so you're talking about you'd have to hold stuff overnight. It's not really tradable in our current situation. You can't really take a 4-hour swing trade that you can hold for like 2-3 days.
Nope.
Like to, but
yeah.
Go back to which you got all those. Go back to the 5-minute.
T4 doesn't have bands at all.
Well, they have the Bollinger Bands, I guess.
Yeah, but that's what's this? Jerry was asking me linear regression style. What do they have? But they don't have it. So then I'll be there Tuesday, guys. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning. So it's going to be a fun-filled couple days. Come on.
Right. All right, let's see the let's get everybody on the 5-minute.
There you go.
Oh, sounds like fun. Yeah.
That's the
So you
plan.
can see how we came right down to the gold band on the S&P there. A little glitchy though there with that data.
But that's real. It dropped like that. It just didn't print.
Yeah,
Really
that's what I'm
tough.
It gapped, but So with all systems and all ideas of when it comes to trading, you have to take it with a in perspective of multiple different time frames and multiple different areas. So you really have to reduce your risk as much as possible, but
Damn, you know what I mean?
you got to be smart about it too.
Nasdaq's going to 5,000 though. You know what I mean?
Well, like I'm saying, they pretty much lowered all their numbers for GDP and lowered all their numbers, yet they took, so it was kind of like we're lowering our outlook for the economy. We're acknowledging that it's weaker than we thought it was, which, I mean, every number that comes out is horrible. But then they said they took patient out, which everyone was looking for them. If they took patient out, that means they're going to be raising rates in either April or June.
Maybe 6
And
o'clock
then
walk.
all of a sudden,
Have you ever been to the Board of Trade?
it's really kind of funny where it's like, okay,
That's where he is, the
we're
Board
not
of Trade.
raising rates the rest of the year, but we're taking that word out, which you guys thought.
South and about 2 blocks.
Well, they did that because of all the algos that punted for that word in the statement.
Right. Oh, I know. That's why it was just absolute crazy ripping move.
Yeah. So what you have is algorithms out there that scan the news for words as that data is released. And as those words are used, the market reacts to that instantaneously.
Right.
And what caused the rip the other day is that word was not used in the policy statement.
Right.
Well, it was. She actually said, we're not going to use the word patient. So it's almost like they were trying to sucker him in.
It was the old Jedi mind trick, honestly. So they took it out and then they changed their other wording, so they really messed with everybody's head.
Structure of the market, though, as we look strong. If you look, you had biotech's been holding up. BTK's been holding up. If you look at like a 6-month chart of BTK, which is biotech's one of the largest sectors in the Nasdaq, and then you compare that with the semiconductor index, you can see the biotechs have been holding up the Nasdaq. They're selling off hard today, and you've got semiconductors on a huge rally. So they could see some rotation here.
Well, they're driving this to. I mean, when you look at a weekly chart, we're back near that high.
Exactly.
Wouldn't shock me if we get a closing high, right?
Got to keep it up.
82 is the high. I don't know if they can pull 30 more points off today, but why not? Get back to where we were pre-market. Crude too, I think we were talking about different things with crude. Everybody always asks about crude oil and the inventory glut that everybody is talking about. Let me pull up that. Finally got my Skype going here. Actually, I might already have it up. No, I don't. Hold on one second. So basically they, from a standpoint of the different entities that keep track of oil, then there's the Department of Energies is obviously make sure I bookmark this. So this was the March 18th release. I followed this for a while. Back in 05, when oil was going crazy parabolic, we were constantly below this. They have a 5-year band. So we were constantly, the blue line is the actual inventories. We were constantly below that, and that's where we literally had shortages. There was a couple spots that they didn't really, especially after Katrina. that this blue line was below here, and there were shortages, spot shortages of gas that you never really heard about in the South, Georgia, Carolinas, up that pipeline. So now you could see it's never been here ever. The stocks has never been that far off the amount. You know, that's the band, the range. Gasoline were high, but you could see it can be below the range too, and that's when you get the $4 or $5 a gallon if you're out in California.
Yeah.
And really diesel, it's a different type, and they can't make it using the fracking oil or that they're pulling up. So that's why diesel's way higher than regular gasoline. You could see we're above stock levels here, and we're near or below on that. But this is just a U.S. thing. If you go to Brent crude, that's a totally different thing. So when people talk about Saudi Arabia and why aren't they cutting? Because they're selling every drop they produce at a higher rate, which is the Brent futures. And the rate is still within for them. If their cost of producing the oil is that low, then you've got yourself a pretty good deal, you know, for them. They don't care if it costs them $30 a barrel to produce it, or $20 a barrel to produce, and it's at 50 or 45 or 70, they're making money regardless. So for them right now, it doesn't matter, and that's why they're not cutting production. And that's why when everyone's saying, oh, there's record stocks, there's only record stocks here actually that's the Midwest. There's actually been between the refinery going out and other stuff going on the West Coast, it's actually tight stocks in the West Coast. They just can't get the oil there. All the oil they're pulling from the North Dakota area is going straight on a train down to Oklahoma or Texas or Midwest refineries. So when you start getting the fundamentals, it still does exist on that, but ultimately the driving season kicks in, and they'll start being pretty big draws every month, every week. So that could be firming up for the oil market too. So that's kind of if you want to look at fundamentals. In the oil market. Going back to you could see now it's almost like they've gone opposite. One goes up, one's going down, and vice versa. Down, up. Oh, I lost data there. Yeah, this is high, this is low, and now it's flipped it. This is going up and this is going down. Pretty interesting. A lot of changes always going on in the market. That's why you gotta be flexible.
Exactly.
So that one went over 52. Wow, it almost went 10.
Yep.
Definitely 5.
Exactly.
He kind of
We were just hanging out near the highs. This is accepting price. You know what I mean? They're $47 a barrel. It's good value.
Well, that's why there was
Right
two.
there.
When you see they say that the April-May contract is the most important because of now they're going to be firing up for the driving season, so you could see why there was such a big discrepancy. But to think this thing was trading at the front month contract was trading at 42 basically the other day. Now we're at 47 and it looks like it wants to break out.
Yep, it does.
Keeps on trucking. You could see how the market had that move and then it retraced, and it's pretty common for the market to retrace within itself on bigger moves. It's almost even. Let's get the longer term. Although the Nasdaq's the only one that didn't. We had the big move. A lot of the currency markets and the oil markets, stuff like that, retraced. You had your big move, retrace it, and then go. Just trickling higher.
It's been a pretty monumental week across the board, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of change going on in the marketplace, that's for sure.
We're
Yeah.
gonna take the 12, 20.
You got to take the pivot on that and kind of go with the flow with it, you know. I'm going to pull up the other. So let's go and cover all the markets again. Dow, S&P, Nasdaq, they're kind of bouncing back to their highs. Volatility's low. You could start to see the bottoming process in crude, natural gas, heating oil is obviously bottomed. Metals are starting to pick up the reflationary kind of message that Janet sent out, that there's no tightening cycle coming. So if you're in the commodity business, it's even copper starting to bump up. Kind of bottoming in all the grains. So you can see when you collectively put it all together.
Tells a much clearer story, yeah.
Buy some more chocolate bars. Come on, it's cheap. Cocoa. And once again, my favorite treasuries are all clear. Held that 26. Draw that kind of trend line. It held. Stock market can ramp again. Clear for takeoff. Could also start to see.
Look at the Swiss franc.
Yep, retraced it all. Funny how that happened. So that was the day of the Swiss National Bank unpegged. Came all the way back, and I would think it's probably going to 110. Over the ensuing month or two.
He's
Yeah.
really
Because I haven't gotten a feeling yet. Let's go to the dollar. It's definitely getting toppy. For it to move 5 cents in a day, in let alone a week, that's there's definitely a line in the sand now at 100. That's a daily. You can see how at 100 came way down. Now we're probably going to be in a topping pattern for a while. But you can see how they call it a flash crash actually in the dollar, because that's like a 5% move, and it really happened in about a half an hour. It's kind of frightening. Largest market in the world at a 5% move in an hour. How many trillions and trillions of dollars were made and lost in that? Happened so fast, no one, I don't even think, noticed. It was actually right after the market closed the other day.
Yeah.
But if you think about how many quadrillions of dollars of actual derivatives are based on that,
Exactly.
you've got some pretty heady numbers. That's for sure. Definitely some heady numbers out there. So we can go through the I guess I should keep these all on the same. There's the 5-minute.
Yeah, that'll make sense.
So you could see if you're looking to get long in this area, I guess I believe I have another. I'll just use that since we got it. Maybe not, that's too much. TMI. These are the charts we used to be vertical. So we're looking here at 50 level. That's in this area. So this is a 1-minute chart here. 5-minute. So if you get near the 5-minute band, let's just put a horizontal line right here. So you can see good areas for buying in those 3 areas. So average move, you're looking for 5 to 10. So 49 to there's 5. Not quite 10. But you could see with the 1-minute down, it definitely doesn't seem like it's going to blast off and take out the high. So that's why you book your profits. Also, from an algorithmic system standpoint, we look for selling. If you get a long here and you get a sell signal on that short time frame, you're getting out there. It's just smart. If you were long from this last signal, you'd be getting out here or here, either way. Now, can you go short? Sure. Did it drop from 58 to 55, make 3 points? You can, but that's where you have to make a decision that do you want to take the 100,000 trades per day that is possible? Or do you set yourself up and try and take the number of trades per day that have a pretty high probability of working out? And that's really where the difference with different trading styles and systems come into play. So you get a prevailing trend move on the higher time frame, but this is the noise of the shorter time frame. So if we're getting stretched up here and you were long, you're probably looking to get out of that market at that point and getting back in these levels. So right now, you frequently hear me say no man's land. We are in no man's land. We're on the midpoint on the 5-minute, and we're in the almost top quarter. So if this is bullish, we're in the top quarter. I'm not buying. You're fighting the trend though if you're shorting. So if you were to get short, you'd have a pretty quick target. Like I said, 3 points is pretty good. If you were to be short here at, I guess it's 1 off to the future, so you'd be short at 60, let's say. So it's just a matter of where's it going to go? Is it going to back and fill? The predictability people have asked me about, I don't think it predicts it, but it's statistics. If you And the way I look at statistics, it's a little bit differently. If you go to the raw numbers on it, that if you're flipping a coin, you have a 50-50 shot at getting heads. But if you flip it 10 times in a row and you get 10 heads in a row, what is the odds of it being, to me, the odds of a tails coming up on the 11th flip is much higher than 50-50. Because you've had 10 in a row, which is such a, in itself, the statistics of that occurring is a rarity. So when I see the predictability, it's saying like if the price action is up, the blue line, and the rate of change is up, and you get a specific different system that gives you a buy signal, you have a better chance of making money than not. But now as this heads over, I think it's going, to this range. Just remove that for now. To me, it would ping pong back in this range. Because this pattern too on the time frame here is kind of not bearish, but if this was bullish, it would at least test that high and then fail. So I can keep that there. That's kind of a value zone, which also falls within the 50-52 area, which is the bottom gold band. And we'll see how the price action.
Yeah, what you're referring to probably is what we call confluence.
Right, when you get an area where everything is coming together, then you get multiple time frames coming together too. I'm trying to find the best. Let me see if I can find it on the euro. Yeah, I think this chart kind of shows it. I'll have to find a different chart. But when you get different areas coming together, then that's where you get these kind of more powerful moves that you've seen. See, former Fed member Richard Fisher says U.S. equities are vulnerable to a substantial correction. Really? And how is that?
Rocket science. He's been saying that for decades. We'll see.
No, that's actually kind of newer, I think. But that's the old Jedi mind trick. It's going higher. That's the old Wall Street adage, the wall of worry. So when you got a wall of worry to climb, there's people that are shorting. So you could see it's already stopped going down. It's starting to hook up. So the market's even stronger than expected. Can't stop a freight train, right?
Yeah, I mean, that buy now, I mean, you're 10 points down.
Oh, from this
Almost.
one.
Yeah, man.
Well, when you think of from a system standpoint, you can buy here, sell there, buy here, sell here. You'd actually have a buy that just came in. What do you sell in the next orange cell?
Yes, sir.
You step out and you buy over here.
taking out those highs.
I don't know why. I mean, even if you look, those are at 64s. Definitely keeps on trucking.
Ascending triangle into resistance. Screws them out when it breaks.
Right. Right. Gotta find my other charts. Where's my crude chart? There's the crude chart.
You can see it working its way into resistance.
Right.
Higher lows. It's going to break those tops.
Seems pretty bullish to me.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to fight the freight train.
About to be liftoff mode.
Well, we have the
Little
Baker
luck.
Hughes 1 o'clock. It's the Baker Hughes numbers. That's been a big number lately.
Yeah.
I bet they show a slowing of the rig count. So, because how many can they cut if they drop 50%? When they shut them all down? Come on. Most of those they're pretty much already paid for. You know, and some of these they cost X amount. The first whatever amount of first 6 months pays for it. Now it's paid. It's going to run for another 5-10 years. Why would you shut it off? It's just making money. There was a reason why old Jed was a millionaire. When you look at the numbers of like one well and some people, I've heard of different groups and people like they have 2 wells on their property in Oklahoma. One of my neighbors, she's from Oklahoma and said, even if it produces, 10 barrels a day, it's still pretty good. At $100 a barrel, it was 10 grand a day. 300,000 a month in and month out for 10 years straight. Starts to add up.
There goes
It's a good business, that oil business.
there goes crude.
Yeah, so you could see
NASDAQ, same thing.
NASDAQ can go into that high. I'd say I think what got
What do you see us closing today?
I think it actually they roll the contracts. That's what screwed this up. But huh? 98 is the
Got it.
is the point. Yeah, probably around 98. It looks like it wants to go way higher than that. I wouldn't be surprised it closes up here, but the math is the math, right?
Got it. So, all right, guys, we'll have a good weekend, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week in the trade room.
Yep. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye.